Welcome to Section 5, Implementing Technology in Built Environment Projects. Click Begin to get started. Technology in the built environment has the power to transform businesses and projects. Organizations are realizing gains in health and safety, quality, sustainability, and productivity by investing in new innovative technologies, as is illustrated by the results of a 2019 USG Corporation and U.S. Chamber of Commerce study. However, technology doesn't just have an upfront cost. It has costs throughout the technology's life cycle. Organizations need a robust implementation and adoption strategy in order to realize the benefits technology can bring to their businesses and projects. You will learn about technology implementation and adoption strategies in the built environment, how technology and innovation requirements are applied up front in the tendering process, and how to recognize the need for a technology implementation plan at the beginning of the project, and the factors to be considered for having technology implementation as part of the project execution plan. Let's get started. Click Next. Two key elements of all new technology endeavors are implementation strategies and adoption strategies, both of which are interrelated. Technology implementation refers to the rollout process, giving access to the organization or project stakeholders, and includes testing, pilot programs, and training, so the technology can be used effectively. Adoption refers to how the new technology is embraced by the organization or the team members on the project. This is where change management practices come into play, paving the path for a smooth adoption process. Encouraging team and stakeholder buy-in helps ensure that the organization will get the optimal return on investment, or ROI, for the technology. There are three critical components that need to be managed effectively: the implementation process, people, which involves change management, and the identification and selection of technology. Technology selection and identification will be covered in a later section of the course. Aligning the processes and people with the new technology is a vital role of all implementation teams and change agents. Industry leaders understand that they need to upgrade their technology to remain competitive and drive value for clients. It is important to remember that adopting new technology solutions is not impossible, but takes careful strategizing and planning. Investing time, resources, and money up front will pay off over the long term. When you build a solid foundation for your technology strategy from the get-go, you're establishing a company culture that helps ensure your entire team maximizes the benefits the technology can bring to your organization and projects. Once your project or organization has finalized the decision of which technology solution to adopt, it is important to develop a robust implementation strategy, which might consist of the following: leadership buy-in, mobilize implementation team, develop implementation goals and key performance indicators, or KPIs, develop implementation roadmap, communication plan, testing or pilot programs, training programs, and go live. Click Next to learn more about each component. Once you have identified the business or project need, as well as the upfront technology risks, and found a solution that meets the need of your organization or project, you are ready to secure leadership buy-in. Without proper buy-in from your organization's or project's leadership team, the implementation team will struggle to make any real changes, and adoption of the technology will be at risk. In a worst-case scenario, the technology will not be used, and the organization will not realize the potential benefits. Leadership needs to make important decisions on the implementation roadmap and be seen as advocates or champions for the technology rollout. To accomplish this, they should strive to ensure the technology aligns with the organization's or project's strategy. Project participants who can see the technology aligns with their goals are more likely to adopt it. Careful consideration needs to be taken when selecting your implementation team. Ideally, this will be a multidisciplinary team that possesses resources from all the areas of the business or project that will be impacted. Experienced team members have an advantage because they will be able to leverage their existing relationships with colleagues and will find it easier to get buy-in when the technology is in the testing phase or is being rolled out. Inexperienced team members may struggle in this regard. The implementation team will be responsible for fleshing out the implementation strategy, determining the implementation roadmap, setting implementation goals and KPIs, communications, training, testing, and finally, go live. The implementation team and the leadership team need to work together to define the implementation goals and the KPIs to be tracked. The goals and KPIs should cover the implementation lifecycle. For example, they might want to track how many professionals signed up to the pilot program. Post-go-live KPIs and metrics also need to be established to ensure the technology brings the change it was intended to do. This may include reduced costs, increased productivity, reduced number of accidents on site, etc. It is the job of the implementation team to set concrete milestones for a technology rollout. Areas to consider are initial communications, testing and pilot program timelines, training timelines, and go-live dates. This enables the implementation team to stay organized and take on one challenge at a time. It is good practice to schedule review sessions with the leadership team to discuss any issues, blockers, or risks to the technology implementation. Normally, an implementation roadmap is split out into phases, with each phase having a concrete end date to keep the implementation team on track and create accountability. The continuous tracking of KPIs and metrics will give clear insights into the adoption rate and usability of the newly implemented solution. It can also identify teams or trades that are reluctant to adopt the change. Project managers can then act on this data by scheduling further training sessions and setting objectives, as well as having discussions to understand why the technology is not being used. Take a moment to consider some questions which should be asked when developing goals and KPIs. When you are finished reviewing these, click Next to continue on. It is prudent and beneficial to create a communication plan around the new technology and the implementation strategy. This is a vital tool to combat user resistance, as keeping professionals informed of plans, dates, and providing the right level of information creates trust. The first communication should introduce the technology, express how it aligns with the organization and project strategy, and the benefits it will bring to the project professionals. A feedback loop should be included in all communications, as this will allow project professionals to raise any concerns and questions along the way. The communication plan should detail the frequency of communications throughout the implementation phases, highlighting success stories to fuel excitement throughout the organization. Training plans are vital to the successful adoption of any new technology, regardless of the industry. If workflows or processes are changing, project professionals need to be trained in how they differ from the original state. Training manuals need to be developed in a user-friendly format, leveraging PDF documents or even videos, and stored in an easily accessible location. It will take professionals time to get up to speed, so having documentation that is easily referenceable will help create a smooth transition. Training workshops should be scheduled with the vendor and the project team leading the implementation. This in-person training should be delivered in a safe environment which encourages questions, provides answers, and allows professionals to understand how the technology will impact their work. The benefit statement should be reiterated throughout the demos to highlight how this technology will improve workflow for the professional, project, and organization. The built environment workforce is aging, and therefore focus on training is seen as one of the key enablers for technology implementation. Testing or conducting pilot programs is a critical milestone in any technology implementation strategy. It is the step that reveals whether the technology is fit for purpose, aligns with the goals, and has the potential to offer needed benefits. Testing or pilot programs are normally completed by a small subset of the end-user community. These programs should take an organized, unbiased approach, assessing the performance of the technology in an actual business or project setting. This uncovers defects or other issues with the technology before a mass rollout begins. It is also the final checkpoint to decide whether to fully implement the technology. If testing reveals that it does not meet the requirements, it is normally decommissioned at this stage. Once the technology passes testing successfully and all other implementation activities are complete, it is ready for full launch. Before go live, the leadership team will give the green light for mass rollout. It is critical that the right level of support is made available to all organization or project professionals at this time. The communication about go live should state the location and details of training manuals and workshops that have been scheduled. We have already discussed some adoption or change management strategies in the implementation section. Communication and training programs continue to be vital throughout rollout, as well as post-implementation adoption. After go live, the KPIs and metrics relating to adoption need to be tracked to ensure the organization will realize the expected benefits. Other change management best practices include assign point of contacts or change agents, realistic and reliable timeframes, and adjust workflow and ways of working. If you would like to learn more about change management practices, click here to download a PDF. Let's consider a quick recap on tendering. Tendering is the process in which bids are invited from contracting parties for a specific package of work. We will look at two types of tendering: traditional tendering, where the board team seeks competitive offers for the supply of work, services, or goods, and the design and construct tendering, where the preliminary design is prepared by a consultant and a contractor completes it and executes the project. This type of tendering is often used for large-scale constructions and infrastructure projects. For further information on the tendering process, please refer to the Contract and Risk Management in the Built Environment course. In the past, tendering took place on paper, but the industry now leverages technology to carry out the process. There are several online platforms which specialize in the tendering of private and public built environment contracts. For example, the European Tenders Electronic Daily, or TED. Technology and innovation play a role in both the tendering process and in the bid submission from the contractor's side. One of the areas pinpointed for greater digitization and technology potential was the procurement process for built environment projects. E-tendering refers to the tendering process for built environment projects that is conducted solely online. This includes the invitation to tender, or ITT, right through until the bid is awarded. The client posts details of the work package required and uploads all documents needed, a project brief, interim designs, delivery method, etc. Potential bidders will register on an online portal and download the documents if the job is of interest. They can then submit their bid digitally by uploading their bid documents. The benefits associated with e-tendering include a reduction in the time frame of the tender period, since organizations can communicate and collaborate on the e-tendering platforms, a reduction in time and money spent on copying and posting documentation, streamlined document handling, reduced paperwork, and a clear audit trail, the ability to make changes to the tender easily, with interested parties receiving notification of said changes, and lower overall project costs. Download a PDF here to review a case study on e-tendering benefits. The built environment is a highly competitive industry with a multitude of contractors submitting bids for the same project. Any advantage your organization can gain over competitors is important to leverage in your bid submissions. Technology is an area of bid submission that organizations can use to stand out from the crowd Owner organizations are always on the lookout for new, innovative solutions to their problem. When submitting a bid, it is important to focus on the value proposition, explaining what value the technology or innovative methods your organization has to offer and what it will bring to the project in question. It is important to focus on the project variables such as cost, time, health and safety, and quality. If the technology that your organization proposes improves on any of the variables, make sure to draw attention to it. For example, if your organization regularly uses radio frequency identification or RFID tags to identify high-risk areas at the job site, it is important to call it out and identify the impact it has had on health and safety on previous jobs. Offer case studies where your organization has used the technology or innovative method to improve the project outcomes. The project's technology strategy needs to be developed at the start of the project and finalized during front-end planning as part of the Project Execution Plan, or PEP. A PEP sets out the strategy for managing the project, detailing the scope, roles and responsibilities, material strategy, performance strategy, etc. The strategy needs to entail what technology will be used on the project, the supporting processes that will be in place, the data protection policies and software download requirements. If there is a suite of technology solutions, the interoperability can be assessed to see if any issues with integration exist and can be resolved early. It is important to note that the strategy is a living document and new technology may be added to the project to resolve a certain issue or may be introduced by a contractor as part of their bid submission. The earlier technology is rolled out to all project team members, the better the chance of success. Let's take a moment to see what you've learned. You have now completed Implementing Technology in Built Environment Projects. In the next section, you will learn about managing technology risks in the built environment. See you soon.